Hey guys, welcome back. And this is episode 56 of the At the Coffee Table podcast. I am Jason Klink, your host, as I adjust my camera here that seems to be pointing up to the sky. I wanted to bring you this podcast here today based on a few different conversations I've had here recently and some of the content I've been absorbing and putting my own personal twist into it. I am flying solo today, so you get to hear one of my rants on the podcast here today. But what I wanted to talk about in the headline on this podcast is don't be afraid of the change. And what do I mean by that? Well, if COVID proved anything, is sometimes a pivot or a change is necessary. There was many businesses, organizations that had to pivot, reinvent themselves, and try to survive a pandemic lockdown and been trying to do that for the last year. I know many companies that had to pivot and rebrand themselves and redesign themselves and maybe come out with different products or services based on everybody being home. There was many IT companies that did extremely well because they all of a sudden had to support the requirement and need and the demand for IT assistance with at home and remote working. So that there was a change in service and pivots. But the change I'm talking about today is more of a personal change. And I've spoke about it here and there before where, there's people that go to work or they go to a career and they put in their 8 hours and they do their work and they go home. They collect their paycheck. They may work 20 or 25 years, try to get to retirement without dying, collect on their retirement, and ultimately live that very even life, so to say. And that's not wrong. It's not wrong. If you're happy with that, more power to you. But if every day is a chore, and every day is brutal for you, and every day you're awful when you're trying to manage through your life, and you're not really sure how to get out of it. Maybe you're stuck in a rut. That promotes a need for a change. And just to put my own personal twist into it, and I've spoken about it before, is I spent a better part of 2 decades in civil service and public safety, and there is a burnout point to that. Anybody that works in that business, I'm sure can appreciate the fact that there is a burnout point. And unless you step away or unless you make a change, that burnout point really plays a heavy mental factor in trying to do your job each and every day. And for me, that burnout point came probably right around 2011, 2012. And, that's when I started looking at what else is there to do out there. But even at that time, remote work really wasn't a big thing. It did exist, but it didn't seem to be a very common thing at the time. So it was biding my time. But, 2019, I leave public safety and civil service to take a job that was remote, virtual office. I was able to work my own time. I'm able to, work a job, run 2 businesses, and manage my time that way because I am home a majority of the time. But that's not to say that wasn't a super scary situation to leave what I'd known for 19 years and jump into something I didn't know. And there was a lot of different variables. And for me, perfect storm came about not only with financially, with compensation, with the opportunity to have that virtual office and work from home. It had some travel involved, but it was very much walking away from a state retirement that everybody, really that's what holds a lot of civil servants in civil service is the retirement, or what used to be the retirement. Now, realistically, the retirement in civil service is just like any other place, and you're paying into your retirement your entire career, except for the fact that you have to work 30 years and be 55, at least where I came from. There's some places, police and firemen, they're allowed to get out at 20 or 25 years. But the New York State retirement system now, you pay into it the entire time. So it's really no different than any other retirement benefit you might get outside of civil service. When I started, I was the second to last tier in state retirement that, my tier had to pay in for 10 years, and then you have to pay another dime towards your retirement. And that holds a lot of people from my tier, my time frame in civil service in that job, because it's very tough to walk away from the amount of money you could end up getting as your retirement. But realistically, when it comes down to the end of the day and you're getting your 65, 75, or 80% or whatever it might be of your highest grossing salary, you may still be only at $50,000 or $60,000 a year, which is a decent amount of money. But in this day and age, with the amount of money that's you're able to be made, that's really not a lot. You're able to survive and buy your groceries and pay your bills, especially in retirement, but it's not a lot. And realistically, we can't depend on Social Security and Medicare, or Social Security, I'm sorry. So we have to make our own investments. And when you look at making a change in a career, does it financially make sense? If you're going to take that leap off the cliff without a parachute, doesn't make sense? Do you have an opportunity to invest towards your long-term and invest towards your retirement? Are you, are you making a unilateral change when it comes to salary, or are you getting a bump in salary? Are you moving from a job that you just don't like, or you don't care about, and there's no passion? And could you move sideways into something, or up into something that you could really get into? You could really, get the juices flowing and have some kind of passion to. If the environment is not good for you, if the environment's not good for you, get out of that environment. I know, I have friends and colleagues. They feel stuck in what they're doing because it's the only thing they know, and they may or may not realize there's so much more out there. And all you got to do is make connections. You never know what you're going to trip over. There's so much more out there that maybe you have a couple of kids you're taking care of. Maybe you're a single mom, or you're married and you have a family to worry about, and you're worried about giving them enough time. Well, because of this environment, this new environment, or enhanced environment anyway, that you could go out and find a business that you could remotely work from home and do your work and do a job and be passionate about that job, plus give enough time to your family. I have a good friend of mine, grew up in the fire service together. Same thing, he spent better part of 2 decades in public safety. I left, 911 right before he did, or, I left 911 before he did. And within the last 6 months, he finally decided that it was time for a change. And he went out and started researching and started networking and made an inquiry. And he tripped over an opportunity with Amazon here locally in Syracuse, and has started a subsidiary business through Amazon, and is doing something that he can totally get into and totally be passionate about, because he's always had that entrepreneurial spirit, doing different side hustles his entire adult life. And this was something that really drew him out of public safety. He jumped off that cliff, and now he's got a huge potential sitting in front of him. You just never know once you start reaching out and getting, like I said it the other day on one of my IG posts, is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's not an original saying, but it's so true, of getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where the most growth is that in that uncomfortable space. In 2008, I decided, that I needed to finish my college education. I graduated high school, I went to college, didn't take it seriously, left, started working, started a family, and I never went back to it. Well, in 2008, I decided, if I ever want to do anything more, I should get this college degree. So I get the college degree in fire service administration. I didn't research it enough. I didn't see what else was out there. All I saw was what I was doing right now, and I thought that would benefit me. So now I got a degree up on my wall that I can't do anything with. There's tens of thousands of dollars, because I didn't look beyond my immediate scope. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to look beyond your immediate scope to see what other opportunities are out there. I've been helping a friend of mine kind of cope with some changes in her life, and and having regular conversations with her and helping her, giving her that other point of view and just listening and some of the things that she wants to do and something that are better for her children. And, I was telling her, listen, just look what else is out there. There's other things out there that not only could benefit you, but benefit the kids. And you can still do almost the same line of work that you're in now and maybe make a bigger difference. The worst thing, one of the more profound things that I heard over the last few years is getting to the end of your life and having regrets. And that's pretty deep, to say the least. We don't ever want it to become 85 and 90 years old, and maybe we're at the end of life and now we have regrets for stuff we wanted to do and never did. And that's tough. That's a large pill to swallow, to think about, have I done everything that I've ever wanted to do? And that's one thing that drives me because of where I'm at in the point in my life. What else do I want to accomplish? And that's what drives me, besides my family and taking care of my family. That's what drives me each and every day, is getting to that point in my elderly years and making sure I don't have any regrets when I get to that point. So I just wanted to do this quick podcast today. It was something I've been stewing about all week long, because of conversations I've had, because of things I've seen, and because of the content that I was hearing. But it's just, I have a lot of friends in public safety. I'm friends with a lot of police officers and firefighters, the police in general. I would not want to be in their career right now. And there's a lot of great police officers, a lot of great people that are police officers out there. And you can have your opinion either way, and you might not like mine. I really don't care. But I know a lot of great people that work in law enforcement, and they're having a real tough time right now. And, they may be faced with a change. It could be changing states to continue in law enforcement. It could be just getting out of law enforcement, doing something that's safer and less taxing mentally. And what I say to you is, if you get an opportunity that takes you out of harm's way and maybe use something you can get passionate about and work just as hard at, I highly encourage you to do it. And that really goes for anyone. If you find something because I've had a number of conversations with friends and colleagues, you talk about something that they're passionate about, and instantly the whole demeanor changes, and they get excited, and they're almost coming out of their chair, and their own, their physical vibration almost changes. And when you see that in someone, when that change happens, there's nothing like that. It's really, really cool. And if you ever sat and listened to your friends or your family, and they're talking about something that they're passionate about, just watch them, and you just see everything change. And vice versa, if you're looking at someone that's miserable at what they're doing, they're all hunched over, you ask them how they're doing, they're awful. That's also a change, and that's a negative change. We all want to get to that point where we're excited and we're passionate and we're doing stuff that we really can get into. And that's what I try to do each and every day, and I encourage each and every one of you to do that every day. So I'd like to hear your comments. What do you think? Put a comment on this live video stream. If you're watching it later on, put a comment in. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear your personal thoughts. If you want to talk about something personal and you need a little bit of a mentorship going on, send me a private message or a DM. I'd love to hear from you, and we can chit chat back and forth. Listen, I'll talk to anyone at any time. And if there's anything at all I can do for you, just let me know. So with that, everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a great day.